Ms. McKinnon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the chance to testify today. I look forward to answering your questions along with those of other esteemed members of this subcommittee. After describing how authoritarianism is adapting to the Internet in ways that involve companies, I'm afraid, I will offer some policy recommendations. Now, authoritarian regimes accept these days that they need to connect to the Internet in order to be economically competitive, but they're also working out how to control things well enough to stay in power. Regimes like China and Iran and a growing list of others usually start with the blocking of websites, but they also use a range of other tactics outlined in greater detail in my written testimony. They include cyber attacks against activist websites, deletion of online content by internet companies at government request, and the use of law enforcement demands in countries where the definition of crime includes political speech, which means that companies end up assisting in the jailing and tracking of activists, whether or not they had ever intended to do so. So what do we do? At the top of my list of recommendations is corporate responsibility. Mr. Chairman, your recent letters to 30 companies in the information and communications technology sector were an important step in advancing the conversation about how American companies can compete in the global marketplace while at the same time upholding core values of Internet freedom. Soon after your 2008 hearing on this subject, Google, Yahoo, and Microsoft launched the Global Network Initiative, a code of conduct for free expression and privacy, in conjunction with human rights groups, investors, and academics, including myself. The GNI recognizes that no market is without its political difficulties or ethical dilemmas. Every company, every product, and every market is different. Therefore, we believe in an approach that combines flexibility with accountability. But fundamentally, it's reasonable, I believe, to expect that all companies in the information and communications technology sector should acknowledge and seek to mitigate the human rights risks and concerns associated with their businesses, just as they and other companies consider environmental risks and labor concerns. Next comes legislation. Law may be needed to induce corporate responsibility if companies fail to take voluntary action. Meanwhile, however, I recommend some immediate steps. It should be made easier for victims to take action in a U.S. court of law when companies assist regimes in violating their universally recognized rights. We need to incentivize private sector innovation that helps support Internet freedom. We need to revise export controls and sanctions in two ways. On the one hand, we need to fix laws that now make it difficult for U.S. Internet companies to legally serve activists from sanctioned countries like Iran, Syria, and Zimbabwe. Yet on the other hand, we have to make collaboration with repression more difficult by making it harder for U.S. companies to sell products and services to regimes with a clear track record of suppressing peaceful political and religious speech. Then there's technical support. Congress deserves great praise for supporting the development of tools that help people in repressive regimes get around Internet blocking. But these tools do nothing to counter other tactics regimes are now using. So our support should also include tools and training to help people evade surveillance, detect spyware, and guard against debilitating cyber attacks, mechanisms to preserve and redistribute censored content that's been deleted from the Internet, and also support for global platforms through which citizens around the world can share information and tactics to fight Internet freedom in innovative ways. Finally, it's vital that we have continued executive branch leadership. Secretary of State Clinton's landmark speech on Internet freedom made it clear that this is a core American value. In reviving the Global Internet Freedom Task Force, the administration can coordinate between government and industry and between government agencies so that U.S. diplomacy, trade, commerce, and national security all can support the goal of Internet freedom. In conclusion, there is no silver bullet for global Internet freedom. As with physical freedom, Internet freedom requires constant struggle and constant vigilance. It will also need to support, we will also need a supportive ecosystem of industry, government, and concerned citizens working together. Mr. Chairman, and all other members of this subcommittee, I commend you for taking the historic first steps in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much.